good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our bi-weekly membership meeting. Let's just give a few more minutes and see if 1 or 2 more minutes and give opportunity for others to join us before we can start giving you an update. And at that time, we'll open the floor for discussions, okay? Thank you all. Just one or 2 minutes, please. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you for joining us. If you're just joining, welcome to our bi-weekly membership meeting. I know we can just go ahead and start. We hope everybody's doing well. So we just want to start with some of the update for us from our side, and we'll allow you all to chime in as well. I know there are a lot of topics that people may want to talk about, so we can give you all the opportunity to address this topic. I just want to start by saying we just had a great meeting with O'Connor Hospital with Dr. Bermani and Warner. I have to give kudos to them for the meeting we just had with them. There are issues that we brought up to Warner and Dr. Bermani. It's not that we're trying to give them any excuses, but at a time like this, whenever there are issues, we will bring those issues to them, and the ability for us to sit down and address those issues is important, right? Because that's the only way we can solve problems. So we have a very productive meeting with O'Connor Hospital today. So we just want to tell you, I know so many nurses brought up concern about staffing and how they're addressing the staffing, how they're preparing for the winter surge. And that may include using some travelers. As you all know, I want to start with travelers first. As a union, we do not condone having travelers in our bargaining unit. We feel like having travelers in our bargaining unit takes away work that bargaining members deserve. But because of the chronic shortage of staffing over at O'Connor, we're willing to hear them out. And what Warner, Dr. Bermani are saying is that we hear you, we know there are concerns, and the only way we can address those concerns, at least in the interim, is to get some additional staffing, and that means bringing some travelers. The union, we do not support travelers, and we want to say that again. But because our nurses are so exhausted and short-staffed and need their break, so we're willing to just say, you know what, because of the circumstances, we're willing to say, get the staff that you need to run the department so that our nurses can get breaks. Our nurses will be able to take vacation. It's a holiday season. Nurses might need holidays off and etc. So in the interest of that transparency that we had with them and them bringing up their concern and addressing them, we want to say thanks to Warner and Dr. Bermani for addressing that. I know there are a lot of other issues we might have to talk about O'Connor Hospital, but so far that's the update for the O'Connor nurses on the call. We have multiple meetings with some of the O'Connor nurses. The two specific departments that were mentioned are ortho and ED. Just so you know, I'm not giving them excuse. I'm not saying the problem is solved. I'm just telling you all the meeting that we had, the context of what we discussed. And at least it's fair that we have that transparency to you all if we have a meeting with them. So at least you all know what the meeting was about. And so in terms of travelers, that's the concern, that's the issues. Now talking about, I just want to run through some topics with you all. I know the heroes pay, people want to talk about the heroes pay and the incentive pays. Those are just giving you a headline of the topics that we're going to discuss. The heroes pay or pandemic pay, the incentive pay, the central monitoring station concern, which is a big issue right now at Valley Medical. And having PD nurses and PQ nurses floating to the emergency room to be sitters, that's also a concern. And to start with the PD nurses and the pediatric nurses and the PQ nurses, we brought this concern, we've objected to our nurses being floating to the ED because those are two unlike areas. If you all look in our contract, you look at the floating language, it says float to like areas. And there's a reason why some nurses wants to be a pediatric nurse, some wants to be psych nurse, some wants to be ED nurse. It's not fair that you're asking somebody who works in peds to float in the ED just to be sitters. You can call them just to be sitters, but it makes that nurse very uncomfortable to be within the nursing a patient population that he or she is not comfortable with. And we've objected to that and we're addressing that, just so you know. We want to let everybody know that. The central monitoring station, I know there was a meeting yesterday. We know there was a meeting yesterday about the central monitoring station. It was stated that it's going to be a permanent thing for nurses to be floating to the central monitoring station or assigned to the central monitoring station. Just for the benefit of all our members on this call, the union objects to that. We objected to that in the past, and we continue to object to that. We'll make a series of recommendations to the county. They can hire, if they want to use travelers in that area just to take care of that department, it's fine, as long as they are not using our nurses. We don't have a problem with nurses who are willing, volunteering to go to the central monitoring station to do that. However, for the nurses who are not comfortable, I don't think it's fair to mandate them to do that. And we've asked the county, but again, they continue to do that. We file complaint to the Public Relations Board. We're waiting for that complaint to materialize. So we just encourage every med-surg nurses, 6 med, PCU, 3 surg, 2 surg, 4 medical, and 4 surgical. We're just asking everyone to be patient with us. It's a process, and I know people are getting really, really frustrated, and given the fact that nurses are extremely exhausted during this pandemic, and now they're asking them to float to the central monitoring station. We hear you. Just so you know, we continue to advocate for you to make sure that stop. And we're hoping that the complaint that we filed to PERP will materialize soon. And we're waiting for that. And I know, again, we'll let nurses chime in to answer questions. Then I want to talk about the heroes pay, the pandemic pay. So there has been some confusion, and we know a lot of nurses complained that they did not receive. The county had a lot of series of errors they made. Some nurses who are full-time get paid half code, some who are half code get paid full-time. And some nurses who are per diem and extra help get, one of the nurses got $4 We feel that completely was an insult to that nurse who has worked in the system for a long time. So next Tuesday, the Board of Supervisor is meeting with the county. And the Board of Supervisor is going to give the county a directive of going back to reassess all nurses who work up to full-time or above their code so they can get up to their whatever amount of hours they work. So if you are 0.5 and you work up to 0.8, you deserve to get 80% of that $2,500. And if you are 0.5 and you work up to full-time, you deserve 100% of that money. So we continue to engage the Board of Supervisors to plead for you. So give us until next, on the 14th, we might hear something from them and we'll be able to answer more questions. So I know some of you may have questions. Feel free to ask the questions anyway. And feel free to send your message as I'm speaking. Feel free to send your chat questions and stuff like that so we can address them if you don't feel comfortable speaking, okay? So the incentive pay. We're hearing concern that some nurses are still waiting for the incentive pay. We'll send an inquiry to the to Labor Relations to figure out what's going on. If you did work extra shift for your incentive pay and you have not yet received it, please let us know. Keep us updated. Just so you know, they have not yet extended the incentive pay. I just want to make that clear. They have not yet extended the incentive pay. We did ask.
That's the orthodonts will be taking over.
So we did ask the county about that. I spoke to Paul Lawrence. He told us he's still waiting for the board. He's still waiting to get a permission from the county executive's office. So we will meet with the county executive tomorrow.
You can sit down.
We are meeting with the county executive tomorrow, so hopefully we'll be able to get some answers for you.
Hello.
So
mute your phone, please.
Please, if you're not speaking, would you mind mute? If you're not speaking, mute yourself, please, as a courtesy to others, please. Mute yourself if you're not speaking, please. Thank you. Yeah, so the incentive pay, we will hopefully address that with the county exec tomorrow. We have a meeting with him at 9 o'clock, and we're asking to extend. We're not only asking to extend the incentive, we're asking to increase the incentive as well. We're also, for extra help and per diem, usually by this time of the year, the county will contact us to extend the 1040 hours. We have not heard from the county, so we will contact them and see what's going on with that. And we have no problem extending it. We have no objections, but we'll have that discussion with them and making sure all the extra and per diem hours are extended. With that being said, I will go ahead and just open the floor for discussion. Ask Tiffany or any of the board member on the call, do you have any update for the members before we can open the floor?
No, I don't think so. The only other thing was elections for the board of directors.
Oh, yes.
Ends this Friday. So make sure that if you haven't already, and your colleagues, to make sure you vote for whichever candidate you feel can best represent you. It's important, even if you don't know the people, just read the bios and make an informed decision. It's important to select people that you feel will best advocate for you in these positions. That's it.
Thank you, Tiffany. And just to piggyback off Tiffany, please, for people who are joining, who continue to regularly join our meeting, we thank you so much. It is important that you join these meetings. It's important. I mean, we know we record this meeting and we send it out for people to listen to them, but it's also important that people participate. And part of the participation is to vote in the elections that we're having, just so you can help to participate in the process. It encourages you to help advocate for anything within your department. You can choose something that you want to advocate for and advocate for that in your department and within the system wide. So we highly encourage people to make sure they vote by midnight on Friday. And if you're requesting for your password before midnight, please make sure you request for your password before 5 p.m. the day, please. Okay, we encourage everyone, if you don't have your password and you have a problem with access, make sure everybody knows this. Everyone knows this, that they can contact RNPA's office. Deadline is 5 p.m. But you can vote. Your deadline to vote is midnight on Friday, please. Okay. So thanks everyone, and we will open the floor for discussion.
Hi, I'd like to make I guess, comment on the incentive pay and then staffing overall.
Please.
Thank you for letting us know about incentive pay being requested to be extended and increased. I talked to another nurse that works at a different hospital in San Francisco, and their incentive pay was significantly higher. And she said even they were not successful in always getting coverage. And I think part of our staffing problem right now is the incentive pay wasn't much of an incentive to get staffing. And then in addition to that, I've just seen over years, why is the county not hiring coded positions versus extra help? We seem to have this chronic staffing problem, and it's not going to get any better. I just see it getting worse. And why not hire people into code so they have an incentive to stay and look at wages too? Why would we have to go to hiring travelers if we can just recruit nurses in our community rather than losing them to other hospitals that give codes or higher pay?
You know what, Nolan, thank you so much for that. Just so you all know, the last campaign that we have, the rally that we have, Nolan, the rally was to address those very concerns that you just mentioned. And talking about the incentive, how the incentive, even though we're giving incentive pay, some other hospitals out there, incentive pay is higher than ours, and they're still having issues with staffing. Hands down, one of the biggest problems right now across all the Bay Area, if not above, beyond the Bay Area, is staffing. Staffing is a massive issue, and especially nurses. Hiring nurses right now everywhere is a problem. If you go to El Camino or Stanford, they are giving hiring bonuses right now. They're incentivizing nurses to bring their friends in to look for a job. Stanford is even helping people with their resume. Come in, we'll fix your resume and we'll submit it. We'll make sure you skip all that other process. So we completely agree with you. In order for us to stand a competitive advantage within here to retain, to hire, recruit and hire, and then retain nurses, we have to do something. And that is something that we have asked the county. We are hoping that they are willing for us to meet and say, you know what, there is a problem. Together, let's fix the problem. We can help. We have no problem supporting and helping them do the recruitment. We do not have a problem with that. We just hope that if they're willing to do that, for example, we just asked them to create a pathway for our extra and per diem to permanency, right? Instead of them competing with everybody else when they're already working here, we should create a pathway for them. We are working on that. The last time we met, they said they will meet with HR, talk to HR and see how we can navigate the system. Basically, we have the merit system rule, which is a rule that governs public employers like our employer, the county, to make sure when they're hiring someone, they hire them competitively. They just open it to the public. You just don't bypass the system. It's a system that allows the county to go through an open competitive way of hiring. So we're exploring that. Any other suggestion, people, that you have, make sure you send that to us or express that also to your manager. And we need to do a better work in recruiting people. And then when we recruit them and we hire them, we even need to do even more better work to retain them.
Yeah. And I just see our hiring practices over the past few years have been not very welcoming. Just like, oh, here you can be extra help, but we're not going to give you a code for a long time. People will leave. They'll get their experience and leave. And it's been going on for years. I know most people are aware of this. And just going forward, our staffing is probably going to get worse, even worse than what it is now, not better. And what's going to happen?
We have to change our hiring practice. We have to change. I think the county of Santa Clara has that old system of hiring and recruitment. I think they think, I mean, when you talk to them, they seem to believe that everything, all the way they're doing things seem to be working right.
No.
The evidence is clearly not.
Right.
So I think at some point, if you look at nurses who are in the business right now, most of the baby boomers are going out. They're retiring sooner. And most of the patient and nurses that we're going to hire in the next coming year is going to be millennials, a lot of them. We have to start thinking like them. We have to create an environment where they can thrive. Some of us who are in our 40s, we are quick to say, well, these nurses, they're still emotional, they're sensitive. Well, too bad. That's their generation. It is about time that we start having an environment where we can encourage these nurses to thrive. We can't just not pick on them. We can't just not say, we have to make sure when they come, they want to stay. And if you look at the hiring of all those groups, they are the first that wants to leave.
Yeah, because we don't give them hours. We hire them extra help with lousy pay and no benefits. Why would why would they stay?
Exactly.
And that's what we're doing to them. And they know it. The county knows this. It's been going on for years. And this is where we're at. O'Connor has to look at getting travelers.
Yep.
It's just not right.
No, it's not. It's honestly not right. And like I said, part of our conversation today is one of the things that Juana and Pamani are willing to look into is that they're willing to look the demographics of nurses they're hiring. What is it that, and also create a mentorship for them within the system that will make them want to stay, and also a pathway for them to grow, get them a good pay. We need to look at how we're paying extra per diem in the system. And that's our obligation that the union has to continue to advocate. And we welcome suggestions from all our membership. I know our contract negotiation is coming up soon. There are so many things we're going to do differently moving into our next contract negotiation so we can have hopefully secure a PIF that will create that competitive advantage for us to hire people and encourage them and making sure those people can stay.
Yeah, I think if people are coded from the start, they will stay. They know they'll get X amount of hours and this is their pay. And then if they're still not happy, they'll go somewhere else.
Yep.
But we need to at least provide a commitment on our end so they know they can survive. You can't survive being extra help and they get canceled or only get 2 or 3 shifts a pay period.
And living in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I just see it happening in our unit quite a bit. And
what units are we talking about?
Labor and delivery.
L&D, okay.
Our extra helps actually get quite a bit of hours, but when the schedule comes out, sometimes they don't. And, we've had a fair amount of turnover more a few years back. People might get a coded position somewhere else because they just can't wait any longer. They've been with us over a year and they're like, I need to get benefits. I need to, more hours. Or I don't want to work night shift. Well, a lot of our codes are night shift.
Yeah,
And we've got so many, of our younger nurses that leave because they don't want to be stuck on nights to get that code that they've waited over a year for. And it just doesn't seem like a very attractive place to stick around. You might for a few years, but move on. And then I'm sure it's a lot worse on other units. I can only imagine.
yeah. We just had a meeting. So RNPA had a meeting with one of the managers that is having problem hiring people for night shift. Like they can't just have people, like she cannot hire anyone. Go ahead. Somebody raised their hand. Go ahead.
That was me. Just to add on to the labor delivery nurse,
Yeah.
the county is not giving the message that they care about their employees
Yes.
if they're only doing these extra help positions without movement into coded positions on a tract. So the message that they're giving these people is they're replaceable. We don't care that much. Their health insurance isn't our issue. Like whatever the message to them is what's the problem. That doesn't make them have the commitment to stay at VMC. When you come in as coded, like they did like 10 years ago, a lot of people get like a commitment there because they felt appreciated or they felt like they were part of the system, where the extra help always feel like they're on the periphery of the system, not a part of the system. So I think for members, RNPA members, if we collectively put the pressure constantly on administration to, we need codes, the solution is codes. So they just, whenever there's a solution, the word they should be hearing is offer codes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the pressure of them, of all of us collectively putting pressure on them can help move them a little bit. Because right now they're like under the umbrella of COVID, it's all COVID's problem, but this was happening way before COVID and it's not going to get better under COVID. So I think if we could all the RNPA members, all of us, whenever we have an opportunity to talk to upper management in any way, we just put the pressure of codes of like, we need to solve the revolving door, offer codes. And if they hear it enough and loud enough, it will be impactful.
Absolutely. Patty, thank you for that. I completely agree with Patty. This is a collective responsibility, honestly. And I know people see the union as, oh, we already told the union. Well, collectively, we are all the union. If we all, meaning everyone, advocate, raise this concern up, and like I said, the union, we are here, we are just the custodian of the union itself, meaning we're here in the office, but every one of you on this call is equally have the right to this union just as I do. So just so you know that. So if we all speak up and all bring up ideas and suggestions of things that you would like us to do differently, at least from the union's point of view, that's something that we're open to do so we can help solve this problem. So thank you for that, Patty. Alex, go ahead.
So hello, everybody. So just they're giving the solution right there. You see what Patty is saying is coded positions, because basically they, at the end of the road, that let's say a nurse comes over here, get the new grad training, get the experience and everything. At the end, they win because they earn some money, they got the experience, and they could go to a hospital that can actually gonna pay you more. And it's gonna they're gonna give you even a coded position where you go. So that's what the union needs to work with these guys and always promote to code these people, because once they're coded, they have something to lose. They got their codes, they got the benefits, they got all that sort of stuff. You see what I'm saying? They're getting what we call the golden chain with the code. So they stick around. There's a high possibility they might stick around. So we better benefits, you see, and that would definitely, that's one of the reasons why we're still here, because when I got over here in the 90s, I mean, the benefits were excellent, especially back then. Got my coded position after a while, and this is 25 years after. And what they're saying, what Patty's saying, they show that they really don't care about these folks. They're just using, and they know what they're doing also. They know, well, I'm extra help, I'm waiting for a code. And if the code is not there, they can grab this experience and take it somewhere else. We have places like El Camino, Kaiser, that they will grab these nurses once they have experience. So that at the end, we are the ones who ended up losing, because to hire a person that's just going to be there for a year, that it's a big investment, I think, for the county. So just to promote, to create to give those codes, so these people they have an incentive to stick around. Not to say better benefits, but I don't know how that's going to fly with the county. Thank you.
Alex, thank you so much. It's that you mentioned something, the golden anchor. That is not even the case anymore, Alex. If you're looking at nurses, young nurses who you're hiring now, I mean, a lot of nurses would rather get the money, invest their money in stocks. Young nurses talk more about investment than I have ever seen before. So I know we talk about retirement, and the county always used that as a competitive advantage in the past, in the 90s, but now, Alex, that's not the case. CalPERS is not as good as it used to be, especially for nurses who are hired after 2013. We all know that. So now we don't have the golden, now the classic, now we have the PEPRA. And the PEPRA, the individual contribution has increased, and it is now, your retirement is at 62 years, and you're only getting 2%. And how much, depending on how much you're making, I don't know what that's going to mean for you down the road when you retire. And as you all hearing all the story about what CalPERS is doing, CalPERS is now doing individual, they're investing the money into stock market. So basically they're using money to gamble. What would that mean 20 years from now, 5 years from now? You don't know. We don't know that for nurses who are young, who might be retiring in 20 years from now, right? So that's not even the case. So just so you know, the things that we're working with Patty, Alex, for everybody in terms of, we've proposed to the county a pathway to permanent position, to Patty's point, encourage people to be hired into coded positions so they can stay. We don't know, I'm not sure how genuine, or I don't know if the county really wants to do it, because we met the last time, it doesn't seem like they were really interested in this conversation, because we were supposed to talk about this. They showed up and they have no HR person in their team, only to tell us, oh, by the way, we're here, but we don't have HR. Can we postpone, can we meet next time and talk about this? So for me, that's the problem we have with the county. Whenever we meet to discuss these issues, they're not coming in good faith, right? So, but we're discussing how we can navigate coded extra help nurses and per diem into permanent status without, so our proposal to them is, if a position become available within the department, as you all know, per our contract, it allows the manager to post the department within the code within the department for 7 days. And after that, that code, the domino that falls out of that code goes to internal transfer. So what we are asking the county, before that, once people from internal transfer apply for that position, and anything that remains out of that code, the extra help and per diem can take a dip at the position before it goes to open competitive. So that's what we propose to the county. We're just hoping that they are willing to entertain that, but they're citing the merit system as a problem for doing that. So again, when we meet the next time, we'll talk about that. We're also meeting with them, talking about the streamlining process. For example, El Camino and Stanford, for example, if they want to hire someone, it takes 3 to 4 weeks, they can get the person to bedside. Within the month, the day you submit your application to the day you start bedside, 3 to 4 weeks at the most. Ours, 3 to 6 months easily. So we're trying to find a way how we can streamline so we don't lose candidates to our neighboring hospitals. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, so those are the things that we're doing, but thank you all for that, for your suggestions and stuff that, and if you feel like there's something that you all recommend that we can do, please feel free to let us know. Any questions, feel free to speak up. Please feel free to speak up if you have any questions on the topic that we're talking about or any other topic for that matter. Okay, someone sent a message to the group. So this person is talking about the central monitoring station room, if we have any update. So we just gave an update. I don't know if you joined us late.
I'm sorry, I just joined. I joined late.
That's fine. I will go ahead and. So a couple of things that we're doing right now. I know you all had a meeting yesterday. Alex, thank you for that update, by the way. I really appreciate it. Sure. And I did, Tiffany also, one of our board of directors also attended the meeting. And so basically what we've already filed a complaint to the Public Relations Board. Public Relations Board is the body that governs public employees practice. So we filed a complaint to them that they are using our nurses inappropriately, putting them in a position that they shouldn't be putting them. That complaint we've modified lately because when we initially filed a complaint, we filed a complaint when it was just 2 medical and PCU that were being sent to that monitoring room. Now that they're saying all the other med-surg, we'll modify our complaint and send it back to PERB. So that might allow us some time or give them some time to look into that. But in the meantime, what we're asking all our nurses to do when you are assigned to go there, make sure you fill the assignment despite objection form and give a copy of that to your manager. And he or she will give that to Jeff and to Jill, because it's supposed to go to Jill and they're supposed to address that. And make sure we have a copy as well. So one of the things we will encourage everyone, continue to fill those forms, do not stop. We continue to object to that. I think we've objected to that several times in your presence, and we've objected to that several times in your absence as well. However, they continue to double down, pushing, saying now they expanded this to everybody else. Yeah. And this is the topic that Marlene was talking about, right? When we have nurses, the way we treat them, we discourage them, we overwork them, and we surprise that they're leaving us. We can't be surprised when nurses are leaving when the way they are being treated. And if nurses say, hey, I don't like this, you have to stop, pause, and ask yourself, why are the nurses complaining about this? Let's have a discussion with them. We've even volunteered, we've even asked them, can you get travelers to do that? We even also, Patty, thank you for suggesting something we are doing, Patty. We've already proposed to them. So some of our nurses who are unvaccinated, who are outside, we'll propose to them, why don't you use those nurses? Because that is a intermediate, because they created this 3-tier system where it's called moderate, low risk, moderate risk, and high risk. So that can be even a low risk. It's not even a moderate risk. That's a low risk because you're just in a central monitoring station. We asked them, why not use those nurses? Because the intermediate risk is for someone who can come in contact with the patient for a short amount of time. If you're in a central monitoring room, you're not even in contact with the patient, so that's considered a moderate risk. Why not use those nurses to do that so that you don't get to put nurses who are in med-surg area who are already on the staff to do the work. You know, so that's some things that we recommend to them. And our nurses who are in modified duties as well. If that's something that nurse wants to do, yeah. You know, Mark just threw that in here. And that is also something that instead of asking the nurses who are already short-staffed to do a job that they're not comfortable with. And the other thing we are proposing to all of you is we're working on a petition. We probably recommend for everyone. We'll draft a petition, send out to everyone. We'll make sure we do it electronically so everybody can do like a DocuSign petition, all the departments. And then once we all sign it and we'll present it again to Jill and Paul Lawrence. What do you all think about that?
Sounds great. Sounds great, Alan. But I have a question because it seems like you said that you guys made the complaint to the labor relation, but they seem that they're just laughing at that because they're proceeding and doing the stuff. They're not taking that complaint very serious. Anything else that we could do? Can we go to Sacramento or something like that? That doesn't seem that they don't budge to anything. I understand. I even understand from where this is coming. It happened after the 2-med moved to the 4-med. Before they used to have that little telemetry room in there, and the nurses used to relieve in that floor. When they moved that 2-med moved to 4-med is when the problems start because those guys in 4-med are saying, "Hey, this is not fair. It's just us," and now they want to spread it around. But before, when that little tele room was in their floor, they were happy doing it, and they never complain about that. Now that tele central room, whatever they call it, it has become it's a massive room, and maybe they do have a point. So these managers, they were supposed to prep themselves, those two who were there, prep themselves for that move, but they wanted to, you know, when there is a leak on the ceiling, just stick a nurse over here. There is a leak over here, stick another nurse over there. They thought they were good. They think that they're going to do it, and they're doing it. They still want to keep on sending nurses to relieve. And now they're even saying that this is going to be permanent because the people in that room, they have to take PTO. They're going to take sick. So this is a permanent deal, the one they're doing too. So like I told them yesterday, it's okay, excellent. But what they need to have is permanent nurses that they're going to get hired to be in that room. If they want nurses, they could definitely get the teletext. You see what I'm saying? And we even give them options. I mean, we can take care of our own telemetry if they cannot open the place. But it's not safe to be taking care of 40 patients. And to our labor relation complaint, they're just laughing at it because you can even hear them smirking a little bit when they hear the worriness because nurses, they're really worried right now. I mean, this feels like a threat to our license. This feels like it's unsafe for the patient. This feels that is out of you know, basically it's not what we signed up for. They just go and do it. And they just want to cover the sun with one finger. They always want to fix things with our bones.
Hey, Alex.
The nurses in 4-med, they were more than happy to take care of that room when they were all little friends in 2-med. When they move around, then they kind of they stood up, and they have a point. I mean, I think they do have a point because they should have stood up a long time ago, but because the room was so convenient, it was right in front of the nurse station in 2-med, they were helping. But the managers thought that, hey, this is the way it's supposed to be. So because they never complain, they never hire more teletext. Teletext, they start retiring, and now they're bare bones. And of course, now the folk, they're saying, well, it's not fair that we're the ones who are going to be relieving when there's other floors that are being taken care of. And that's where the whole thing falls into it. So they're playing let's be fair. That's what they're playing right now with everybody.
So Alex, just for the benefit of the conversation, when we say public employee relation board, we don't mean labor relation though.
Okay.
We're talking about Sacramento.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Public employee relation board is different from labor relation here. So public employee relation board is the governing body in Sacramento that oversees what we do here as labor organizations and public employees. So we've already filed a complaint to them. So we're waiting for them to respond, and it's a process. If there's any other thing beyond that you think we can do, please, you all feel free if you guys want to rally, you want to do something, let us know.
You bet. I
Um,
kind of like that one too, because they seem like this. Basically, you're saying the state, then, because then it's something. Probably I'm not understanding the jargon over here. So it's because it's basically it's a complaint towards the state. The state is the one that could jump in into
Yeah,
this.
it's the state of California.
Oh, thank you, Tiffany. Thank you very much yesterday for all the support. Thank you very much. That was excellent yesterday with
Thank
those
you. I
ladies.
appreciate that feedback.
Even they're already putting people in there. I feel for the managers too, but things that sometimes they need to think beyond, and I bet it's tough for them because probably they don't have the staff too. But it's always trying to patch things with us. I mean, with COVID, we were there. The nurses had a rough year last, and here we go. This is our Christmas right now. You don't know, especially that the older nurses, they're just about to retire. They're gonna push them into retirement, and and that's gonna make things even worse for when it comes to staffing. Until there are people who are going to be there for 2 years, they want to beat it. As soon as they hit those 20 years, they're just going to leave.
And the thing is, Alex, to your credit, we understand there is a shortage of labor. The labor force is just empty right now. I mean, a lot of people are not looking for jobs, and it's hard to recruit people and I understand you say they have 10, based on your update and from speaking to Tiffany, my understanding is they have 10 positions that they're trying to fill up by January, right? Is that what it is, Alex or Tiff?
That was my understanding, that they were interviewing currently, that there was 10 vacant positions, and they were, Amy, the unit manager or the manager for that department, was unable to attend yesterday because she was actively interviewing candidates. So that was my understanding.
We understand they're doing the best they can, but I guess what the point nursing administration is missing is for you to get nurses to do something, engage them, give them the opportunity, don't mind, because if that's not what they would like to do, it makes it hard for them to do it and enjoy doing it. And that's patient safety, right?
Exactly. And that's what things comes down to, patient safety, Alan. And you guys have given options. You told them, okay, then if you have nobody, each unit can take care of their own for a little while until they solve that up. But no, they want to solve it with us. At the meantime, something could happen. Laura, I hope it doesn't happen. You see what I'm saying? For the patients and for the nurse who is in there. That's the thing. So, and that's, they want to start, like testing the capacity of the nurses. Oh, you guys, your ACLS, this is 40 monitors, and they don't do it like Patty was saying. They got to have a muscle mind that you're always there. So, but here's the deal. They were supposed to prep themselves for that. And if they don't have the stuff for that, don't try to patch everything with us. They could close it up and they could tell us, hey, you guys, we have nobody for tele today. Do you think you guys could take care of that until we get the person? But they don't want to do that because those managers already promised to the ForMed that they were going to involve everybody else. And that's what's going on.
And that's Alex, that's the big problem, right?
I tell you, we understand what's going on. We know where all these things started, where the whole fire started, where it came from. We know where everything comes from. But the thing is, they were supposed to prep themselves before moving into their new unit, sort things out. At this point, those guys in ForMed, they're very comfortable at relieving that room. But they're playing, this is not fair. But they did it for years. And now they're stressing the whole entire fleet of nurses.
And Tiffany.
Yeah.
Tiffany, Alex, and Patty, doesn't Title 22 apply here?
Well, they're saying no because you're not the primary caregiver. You're just watching the monitors. You're not responsible for the patient. You're only responsible to pass along the information. And as soon as you pass on the information that this patient's rhythm has changed or whatever, then it's out of your hands. Your responsibility is not, you're not the primary caregiver for the patient.
So let me.
Oh, sorry. It would also be like the charge nurse, like how a charge nurse is responsible for more than their 4 patients. Yep. It would be under the same kind of category as that. Like your role isn't direct patient care, so you don't have the ratios. However, the issue is like multiple issues, but one is that nurses, we have free will of like we're not slaves, we're not indentured servants. And so if we're treated that way, we're not going to retain. And to Alex's point of ForSurge used to cover with 2Med, when they were in the 2Med building, they used to cover. But now those nurses, some of them have left and moved on. And so the newer nurses are now in the same position as 6Med, ForSurge, all the other units, because the nurses who were comfortable working there, some of them have left. Like there's only a small hand that's still present. So the ones that were comfortable aren't all available now as they were when the monitor room was in the unit with them. Completely different setup. They were looking at very less monitors at that time. I think they were looking at the 2Med and 4Med, which total was like less than 16. Where now they're looking at 40. Completely different. Not comparing apples to apples.
And that's the point I was making, Patty. But prior to, nurses in the past are easily willing to come to work, do their job, and our millennium, the demographics of nurses who are coming out, they're having issues to question practice. And to your point, the ones that are used to do this in the past and the ones that are there now. And so now this is becoming an issue. And all we're asking the administration is, we understand hiring is a problem, but let's have the conversation to the nurses to say, this is what we're doing. Make it, to your point, Patty, don't treat them like you have to do this or else. We cannot continue to have an environment like that and encourage people to, and expect people to want to participate or stay. We just had a conversation with Juana, for example, at Patty. Now, what Juana was telling us is completely something that the union will not, in a normal world, want to encourage. But at least she's willing to say, hey, this is the situation, how do we fix it? Am I giving credit to Juana? Am I giving excuses to Juana? No, I'm not. But at some point, let's have the conversation, because the nurses feel comfortable to speak up and hear them out, and let's work and find ways to solve the issues without them. Because right now, it seems like they're telling nurses, we are going to do this regardless of what you do. And that in itself is a problem. Yeah, to Kat's point, nurses are already exhausted with short staffing and patient acuity. Nurses are leaving, and it's and I don't want to be the one like beating a dead horse about nurses are exhausted, but boy, nurses are exhausted. So I just hope that the VMC administration is willing to sit down and have a honest conversation about the feature of how Jill is working with PPCs, and she addressed the last time the different communities. She was saying next year they want to have a goal and how they can better advocate for the nurses, how they can better make sure the nurses feel appreciated. Maybe it's a conversation that the nurses will all willing to participate in and just give their opinion about what is it that they want to see. And equally with the union, and I always say this, I want nurses to hold us accountable. We are not here, it's a privilege to be in this position, honestly, even though it's not easy, it's a stressful job. I have to say, Tiffany, and to the rest of the board, my heart goes out to all of us, and thank you all. But boy, this is not an easy job. And to all of the members who are on this call also, we sincerely appreciate you. You make our job easy every day. Well, it is a privilege. It is a privilege to do this job. So I think nurses should hold us accountable. They should hold us accountable when they when they participate, when we ask them to participate in the process by bringing issues, And they have to follow up with us and make sure those issues, A, it's resolved, or B, there is a pathway to resolve them, or C, that the county is not willing to do anything about it. And then you all can see that we're doing something together. So I think that in itself, it's helpful, and it will increase participation, and it will create transparency and accountability as well. So I just want everybody to know that we are held to, you have to hold us accountable. I know it's not easy because sometimes we try our best, but it comes with the territory, right? So. And Marlene, I was just looking at, if people can read their inbox at their chat, people are throwing comments. I think Marlene was just making a comment about how the incentive pay is triple at other hospitals. So she talks about how our wages are low. We can retain new nurses. So it's in the chat. So feel free to read them as well. Marlene, I completely agree with you. We have to do it better here on our part to make sure collectively, all of us, that next contract, it's something that hopefully can give us a competitive advantage. All right, somebody just joined us and say, sorry, I joined the meeting late. Are we planning to extend the COVID sick leave? So we did, I don't know who this person is, say NY, but we did request, because you know the COVID sick leave expired September 30th of this year, right? And at that time, in California, we were having that special election, that recall election with the governor. And we tried to reach out to advocate to our lobby, to lobby for this. We still haven't heard back. We talked to Jeff Smith. We're meeting him tomorrow again. We requested that it get extended, but this is coming from Sacramento, so we haven't yet. We'll probably get some answers tomorrow. If we do, we should email to everyone so that they know. But as of now, no, it has not been extended yet. Any questions, comment? I know we have a few more minutes to go. Thank you for that person. Thank you. Thank you all as well.
Yeah, after that meeting yesterday, the morale is like down the ground.
How many managers were in that meeting, Alex, if you don't mind me asking?
What was that?
How many? It was just the PCU manager in that meeting?
I think it was Gigi, which is the PCU, and there was, I think, the manager of 4 Med, because she's really interested in this too.
Tiffany who?
Yeah, it was Gigi and Christina that I heard. And then Irma, the quality improvement manager.
Okay. It'll be nice in this type of meeting for Jill, Andrea, Sukal to attend. And I know this, they think we are pushing too much. They seem to be easily frustrated with RNPA. But what they fail to understand is we are just a mouthpiece for the nurses, right?
Yeah.
We are bringing concern that it's not like we're manufacturing this concern in this office. These are issues that Tiffany is getting phone call late at night, text message in the middle of the day. I'm getting text message in the middle of the day, late at night, and emails.
I don't know if you guys were in the last meeting yesterday. It got really rough.
See?
Like, oh my God, there were so many nurses. They were doing.
3:30.
Yeah,
Did you attend the 3:30 meeting?
Of course, this is something that is my license on the line, Tiff. I mean, it's the license of many nurses. It's up to the patient's race, and I wanted to hear how consistent these ladies are following this. And it sounds wishy-washy. It sounds like they were not prepped for something like this. And like I said, it's the same from the old country where I come from. You want to cover the sun with one finger, and that's what they're trying to do. And you wanted to hear where they're all the inconsistencies, where they're going along with it. You see what I'm saying? And they're just saying, well, you're a tele-nurse. You've been a tele-nurse, and go ahead, go take care of 40. You go take care of 40 monitors. I mean, it's easy. You're not taking care of the patient. You're just looking at the monitors. I might as well look at my crypto like that. I have all my crypto reading at the same time, reading all that, looking at the stuff without any mistakes. I don't know. It just feels very unsafe. And everybody, it's not, I hear the concerns of people on my floor. You see what I'm saying? People don't even want to show up to work. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. So think about people wanting to stay, especially if somebody has the chance, hits 20 years, get his percentage, can go, they're just going to lift up and leave. And I'm not kidding about this. This is going to get bad. And what Patty says, I like that word that she's using there, indented servitude. Yeah, that's the way it's starting to feel. It's starting to feel even more like that. And yeah, you guys should have stayed for the last meeting. It was a carnage. That those ladies, they had to run. They literally just hung up.
Really?
At the end of the meeting, like the time like literally hit the hour mark, whatever, and they disconnected. They didn't like say thank you for showing up. It was just
nothing.
A disconnect. But in the last like 8-10 minutes of the conversation, they were very, very frustrated, and it was it was apparent that they got like really flustered. But the other thing, in Gigi's defense, she's trying to solve the solution, and she's getting pushed from her upper management. And when the monitor room is on your unit, you're surrounded by your people. So you're surrounded by your resources. When the monitor tech is removed and you're in a room with people that you don't really know, you don't know their skill set because you don't work with them that much, your resources have been removed. So her response was, we'll call the doctor. But as a monitor tech is not calling doctors. So her response is telling us to act out of the scope of what a traditional monitor tech would already act out of. And so like, if you're really worried, call the doctor. But really, no monitor tech has ever called the doctor. They might have called the RRT. They've never called the doctor. I would bet a good sum of money on that. So they're trying to like say, like, you still have your resources. All the resources you have at the bedside, you have there, except they're utilized in a different way. So it's just different. And I don't think they hear that the problem isn't interpreting the strips. I can look at strips and know which is a dangerous strip and which is a non-dangerous strip, but maybe an alert strip. It's not that. It's like addressing the phone calling, a doctor calling to ask you to retrieve some information, alarms going off and knowing which ones to get to first, second, third. When it's on your unit, you feel comfortable. Hey, come help me for a second. I'm drowning. But if you're in a room far, far away, the resources are different, and they're not really acknowledging that nurses, we don't practice alone. Like very, very few nurses practice alone. We practice in teams. Yep. We know who our resources are. We know who our go-to people are. When we find ourselves in over our head, we ask for help, and help shows up on any good team. So that's the difference of where the nurses are feeling like they're being pulled from their comfort zone of resources and put to somewhere where they don't feel they have the skills to do the job fully, which is a fair assessment.
Back to Alex, when you mentioned the central monitoring station used to be in TUMED.
Yeah.
To the point that Patty is making, the reason why they were not complaining because I can just run out and grab a nurse and say, hey, what is this strip? It's right there. The nurses work in team. Even though there is one person monitoring that, there are many other nurses right across from that room to the nursing station. Charge nurses right there that they just can call. And most of the time, the doctors are always there anyway, so. And
the PCU is the same. The tele room used to be in TUMED and PCU. Yep. So those are why those two units have more comfortability with it because they've experienced it, but they were on their own unit with less monitors being watched. The workload is less monitors on their own unit with the people that they know.
Yes.
And we're saying this to understand the case. You see, that's why we're bringing this up. So they don't see that we're like fools, that we don't know what's going. We know what's going on. But you see, but listen to what Patty's saying. They felt comfortable to relieve because they were all together. And now we're comfortable to relieve too if we relieve our monitors in our unit. You see what I'm saying? Until they figure something out, but they don't want to budge. Because now what Gigi was saying is that this is going to stay as it is, because the people in the monitor room, they need to take vacation. They're going to call in sick. So this is going to keep on going.
And to Patty's point, in the defense a little bit of Gigi, you know, at least with my experience, she's a problem solver. When there's a problem, she wants to find a way to solve it. And I have to give that credit, please, to nurses. I am not, and I know usually when we speak of a manager, people think like, oh, and when you walk in that department, you feel like that manager is not treating you nice. I should not speak. No. Gigi is a problem solver, and Gigi will reach out to me. He'll reach out to the union like on a weekend. Hey, I have these issues. How can we solve this? Can you help us? So to Patty's point, I can see where she's trying to solve issue, but she has people above her who are telling her what to say. And sometimes they also fall in the predicament where now they are between the rock and the hard place, right? I don't know if that makes sense.
I don't think it's coming from her. I think she's trying to find a solution. Like, I think that she's trying to make the situation work, but we're gonna have to look deeper into new solutions.
Yeah, we honestly need to, Patty, something I was just thinking of on top of my head is that going forward, what we should do in our contract negotiation moving forward, we should start have frequent town hall meetings strategically to each article in our contract. The ones that need changes, recommend those changes, highlight them, put it in the in a binder, because it is good to invite nurses to make the changes. So when the contract comes out, everybody feels like they're part of it, right? Because there are so many things that we can change the practice, how to apply our contract versus how to apply policies. What do we do moving forward? Collectively, I think we should continue to engage in that. Somebody sent a message, they'll say, yes, I agree. You're looking at 40 patients. If you're calling a unit for one patient, another patient is having irregular breathing, of course. And that's what Patty was saying, yeah. Tiffany, maybe that's why they have a manager if he has his own budget, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So they should have their own staffing then. Oh boy. Anyway, thanks to everyone. Happy holidays to everybody and their family. We wish everybody a wonderful, wonderful holidays, okay? Please feel free to contact us anytime. You don't have to wait for this meeting to come and talk to us. Stop by the office anytime. The office is open for all of us to come chat or bring concern, comments, objections of how we're behaving. Please, if you see us doing something that you don't appreciate, please feel free to reach out. Maybe we should send a survey of how RNPA should be doing things. What do you all think? Is that something that you all appreciate, sending us a survey to appraise, to see how we're doing and what we can do better? I guess everybody's exhausted doing surveys. I get it. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
All right, buddy. Alex, I have your number. You have my number. Feel free. Patty, always a pleasure. To the rest of everyone on the call, thank you all. Appreciate it.
No, thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your support.
All right, thanks. Bye.